Today I'm going to tell you about thermal energy, temperature, and heat. Well, before I do that, let me explain what a substance is. A substance is anything made of particles, and what particles are molecules and atoms. Now that we know this, let me tell you about what thermal energy is. Thermal energy is the total energy of all the particles that make up a substance. With this being said, let me give you an example. Okay, so an iceberg and a burning candle. Even though the burning candle is putting out more heat, which we're going to get to, the iceberg has a greater thermal energy because it is composed of more particles than the burning candle. This brings up the subject of temperature. Temperature is the measure of how warm a substance is. Okay, the big thing with temperature is trying to figure out why something is hot or cold. This depends on how fast the particles are moving back and forth in the substance in straight lines. So, when you think about this, okay, the candle, the particles will be moving back and forth in straight lines really, really fast. But in the iceberg, they'll just be moving slowly, which they also rotate on and vibrate, but temperature is strictly determined by how fast they're moving back and forth in straight lines. This brings me to the subject of telling you about what heat is. And heat is just simply the flow of thermal energy. Thermal energy flows from hot to cold in most cases because that is what comes natural to it. Okay, when we're outside under the sun is the heat coming off the sun is gathering towards us because it's flowing from the hotter, like say 102 degrees, and we're 98.6 internally, but it's going to be coming towards us because it's wanting to travel from being really hot to the colder source so it can eventually equal out and everything will be the same temperature. Although you don't reach an internal temperature of 102 degrees. But anyways, there is cases where thermal energy will flow from cold to hot. But this requires an additional energy. Okay, let me give you an example. An example would be a freezer. Okay, whenever you put something, say it's not warm, but it's much warmer than the freezer. When you put it in there, how the cool air from the freezer is actually going to cool down that warmer item that you put in there is because the electricity being put into the freezer is allowing for the cool to cool down the hot. But anyways, they can be very complex subjects, but whenever you look at them from a broad perspective, they're actually very easy to understand. And I hope you enjoy.